everyone, it's Jennifer from Flux. In this video, we're going to learn how to make these pretty tiered heart earrings. These are really easy to make. You just need a couple of supplies. We're going to learn how to crochet a one round heart out of some pretty yarn. And then we're going to add some jump rings with beads to kind of add a little sparkle to them. And then they are just worn. They're like the little French hook style. So we're going to go through this entire project from start to finish. And I just wanted to show you using the yarn and the hook size that I'll be using. The finished earring from the bottom point to the top of this ear wire is about 3.5 inches tall. So these are a nice long earring. Now you can use a thinner yarn and a smaller hook and make these smaller if you wish. You can do one heart, you could do two, you could do 20 and make them really long. So it's totally up to you. You can add more hearts or less hearts if you like as well. So let's get started. For this project, you'll need a tapestry needle, one that's on the smaller side because our yarn isn't very thick. You'll need a pair of scissors. A ruler is helpful, not totally necessary, but if you want a certain size or length that you're after, that might be helpful. We're going to be using some jewelry pliers. Now, you can get away with one pair, but I like to use two to take one on each side and pry open my jump rings. These come in usually a set, but you can buy them individually at the craft store. We're going to be using a 4.5 millimeter G crochet hook. This is my Furls Odyssey, the red and gold tipped one. I'll put the link down below if you'd like to get one for yourself. And we're going to be using some jewelry parts to make our earrings. These are some people call them ear wires, some people call them French hooks. I grabbed some rose gold ones. I thought they'd look pretty with the yarn. So you'll need 2 of those. You'll also need 6 jump rings. That's what is going to connect all of our pieces together that we'll be making. And this is completely optional, but I also grabbed 6 glass beads. I don't know if you can see this up close, but through the hole is a little bit of metallic, so it almost looks like a little bit of like champagne sparkle in the middle. You could use clear, you could do pink or red, you know, for a Valentine's look as well. The yarn that I will be using is called Whims Merino in their DK weight. They also make a worsted weight. Okay, let's talk about this yarn. I'm going to be using a yarn called Whims Merino in the DK weight. This is also made by Furls, the folks that make these beautiful hooks. They also make a merino weight. This is the DK weight, and this is called Red. Now I have it all caked up, but it normally comes in a skein. I use this for my book lovers bookmark. You may recognize the yarn, but today we're going to be making some beautiful little hearts with it. If you need to substitute yarn, any DK weight will be just fine. You could change your hook and make a tinier hearts with some sock yarn or something like that too if you wish. As an option, you might want to grab 2 more jump rings and 2 more beads. Sometimes when we make earrings and hang them in our ear, they turn and you see sort of like the sides of the heart instead of the front of the heart. In that instance, you may want to add another jump ring in between the top ear wire and that first jump ring that connects to sort of have it swivel a little bit. That's not always the case. So what I would do is just grab 2 extras and just have them nearby while you're assembling your earrings. And I'll show you all this later in the video, but it might be helpful just to have 2 extra if it's not kind of laying flat the way you want it to. Okay, I'm going to scoot everything over and we're going to grab just our yarn and hook for now because we're going to make our hearts first. Now let me zoom way in so you can see all these stitches I'm going to do. Now, like I said before, these are made in just one round, so they're super easy to do. We're going to make 6 of them, and we're going to make 1 of them together, okay? So what you'll need to do is take your yarn, wrap the yarn around your fingers to make a loop, bring the yarn behind the loop, reach in with your hook, bring up a loop, and tighten. Then we're going to make the ring that we'll be working our stitches into. So we're going to chain 4. So to make a chain, wrap the yarn around the hook and bring it through the loop. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then what we're going to do is join to close the ring with a slip stitch. So insert the hook into the farthest chain from the hook, bring up a loop. Now bring that loop through the loop that's already on your hook, And then what you can do is kind of open that ring up a little bit to work your stitches in. We also have a tail here that I'm going to hold along the edge as we work. Okay, so then what we want to do is we're going to work in the center of the ring a double crochet. So to make a double crochet, wrap the yarn around the hook, insert the hook into the center of the ring, bring up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. Wrap the yarn around the hook, bring it through the first 2 loops, and go nice and slow because our yarn is thinner. Wrap the yarn around the hook again and bring it through the last 2 loops. Then what you're going to do is work a treble crochet. So wrap the yarn around the hook twice this time, insert it into the center of the ring, bring up a loop. You'll have 4 loops on your hook. Wrap the yarn around the hook, bring it through the first 2 loops. Wrap the yarn around the hook, bring it through the next 2 loops. Wrap the yarn around the hook, bring it through the last 2 loops. And if you need to push things over, that's fine. And then we have our tail here that we're still holding along the edge. Then we're going to work another double crochet into the center of the ring. Just like that. And I'm going to grab a little bit more yarn out of my cake here. All right, so then we need to make, this is the top of the heart. Then we need to make that little divot in between the 2 top parts. So we're going to work a slip stitch into the center of the ring now. So insert the hook, bring up a loop. Now bring that loop through the loop already on your hook. We now have that first rounded top part of the heart. Then we're going to do the same thing as we did back here and work a double crochet into the center of the ring. Then we're going to work a treble crochet into the center of the ring. And then we're going to work another double crochet into the center of the ring. Okay? Just like that. So now we have the top part of our heart. And if it doesn't look completely heart-like right now, we are going to shape things up a bit in just a little bit. Okay, so still holding that tail along the edge as we work, we're now going to work 3 single crochets into the center of the ring. Okay? So to do that, okay, we're now going to come down the side of our heart and work 3 single crochets in the center of the ring. So to do that, insert the hook, bring up a loop. You'll have 2 loops on your hook. Wrap yarn around the hook, bring it through both loops. That's 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, and 3 single crochet. Now we need to, if you need to slide things over a bit, that's fine. Now we need to do the bottom point of our heart. Wrap the yarn around the hook 2 times again, insert it into the center of the ring, bring up a loop, wrap yarn around hook, bring it through the first 2 loops, wrap yarn around hook, bring it through the next 2 loops, wrap yarn around hook, bring it through the last 2 loops, and now we have our bottom point, sliding things over, and then we're going to come back up the side of our heart and work 3 single crochets to finish. So 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, and 3 single crochet. Still have that tail I'm holding along the edge. And then what we're going to do is join to close with a slip stitch into that first stitch worked. So insert the hook into that first stitch that you worked, that double crochet, bring up a loop. Now bring that loop through the loop that's already on your hook. Now we're going to join to close the round with the slip stitch. So insert the hook into that first stitch worked, bring up a loop. Now bring that loop through the loop that's already on your hook. And then we can cut the yarn with our scissors, wrap the yarn around the hook, and bring it all the way through and tighten. Now we have our first little heart, but we need to kind of shape it up. You know, it's a little lumpy. So let's grab our tapestry needle, and we're going to take the tail that we held along the edge and we're going to pull it nice and tight. Just be careful not to over tighten because it'll snap. And then you can take your scissors and give it a little snip. And then grab your other tail and your tapestry needle and just thread that tail where you left off. And the front of the heart is what faced you when you made the heart, so flip it over to the back. And then what we're going to do is just weave that tail in through the back. Just kind of wiggle it in the best you can and pull. and then just give it a snip. And then you can shape your heart up. So kind of that little dip on the top, kind of shape that up, shape those rounded sides, and then give the bottom point a nice little pinch, and our heart is complete. So what we want to do next is make the rest of our hearts. So our earrings, if we sort of map out how we're going to do this, we're going to have, well, let me zoom way in because these parts are tiny. We're going to have an ear wire, and we're going to attach it with a jump ring. And then we're going to take another jump ring, and then we're going to put another heart here, and then we're going to do another jump ring and then another heart. So we need to make a total of 6 hearts. So go ahead, and if you need to back the video up a little bit and re-watch how to make the heart, go ahead and do that. But we'll want to make 6 hearts. So I'm going to go ahead and make the rest of my hearts, and then we will rejoin in just a minute, and we're going to just kind of assemble everything together. Okay, so all of my hearts are done and they look really cute. I have everything kind of laid out like we did a minute ago. I have the ear wire or French hook, whatever you call it, the first jump ring, the next first heart, jump ring, heart, jump ring, heart. So what we're going to do is sort of put all this together. Now the beads, if you want to use the beads, when you put your jump rings on, you can add a bead. So in between each heart has a little bit of sparkle, but it's totally up to you. We're going to kind of experiment and see how it goes. I also grabbed 2 more jump rings because sometimes when you make earrings, if you wear your earring and it's turned and it's going into your ear this way, and then you have a jump ring this way, sometimes you need one going the opposite direction to make the front of the earring lay properly and not have it twisted while you're wearing it, and people will just see the sides of all your hearts. So I did grab 2 more jump rings to in case we need them as well. So let's grab our pliers and start putting these beautiful little earrings together. So I'm going to grab my first. Actually, let's work from the bottom up. I'm going to grab my jump ring on the bottom here and my pliers, and I'm going to take my other pliers. And this is where having 2 pliers is super handy. And I'm just going to open this up like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to scoop up this bottom stitch with my jump ring. Okay, and then I'm going to take my other heart, and that one is going to hook into the top part. So you just want to take like that very middle little stitch, just like that. And it might take a little bit of fiddling because it's small and we're dealing with some little tiny rings here, but you just want to hook it in the middle there, right in the middle. And then if you want to also add a bead at this time, feel free to do that. If it's a little bit too crowded, don't worry about it. Just try to get everything hooked on there. And then what we're going to do is grab our pliers and just carefully bend this closed. Okay, so get everything nice and closed up. And so now we have 2 little hearts and a little bead in between. Okay, and it looks really cute. Whoops, and I dropped it. Okay. So take your time. It's a little bit fiddly to kind of like put all this stuff together, but we're going to just take our time here, pry open the next jump ring, and then we're going to sort of like scoop up that middle one. And then while I have everything on here like this, I'm going to add a little bead to mine and then put it back on that plier just so everything stays put. And then I'm going to scoop up this other heart, grab the other pliers, and we're just gonna close it up, just bend it shut. Okay, so now I have 3 little hearts, each with a sparkly little bead in between, just like that. Okay, now let's grab our final jump ring, and we have 2 on standby here just to just in case we want it to lay a little bit differently. So open up your last jump ring, and what we're going to do is we're going to scoop up that last heart and throw a bead on there, get it back on the plier, clipping it with that plier right away kind of keeps everything on there. And then we can take our earring, and I'm noticing it's going to be sideways, but I'm going to put it on there just to make sure, and then go try it on. If we need to add another jump ring, it'll be okay. But there is our earring, and it looks super cute. So I'm going to go see if this lays properly and if we need to add another jump ring. Okay, so my earring was a little swivelly, so I am going to add another jump ring onto this. So you can take this ear wire off. And this may or may not be something you run into with your earring, but if you do, just have an extra jump ring to throw on there. And that way you'll be able to correct that if it is kind of swiveling around on you. Okay, so we're going to close this top one here, and we added this second one. So I'm going to close the one I just opened. And so now I have an extra jump ring at the top. So you see this one goes this way, and then this other one is going to be flat now, okay? So what we can do with this new jump ring is you can put the bead on there if you want to, or you can just add the ear wire right now. So what I'm going to do is this new one that we just put on, I'm going to open that one up. And I do wish they made rose gold jump rings. I have never seen those. If you know where to get rose gold jump rings, let me know, because it would be cute if they matched. Okay, so I now have an earring that is going to lay a little bit flatter for me, okay? So you can see in my hand here, we have our heart, ring with the bead, heart, ring with the bead, heart, ring with the bead. And then I added the extra jump rope just to kind of lay everything flat. And then let me just fix this because my ends are sort of overlapping. You want it to be nice and straight, okay? So there's one earring. Oh, and then sometimes when you get the ear wire, they come with a little like rubber backing that helps hold it onto your ear. Especially these big ones want to like slide off. All right, so I've already started assembling the second one, and I'm going to finish doing that. Okay, just getting the ear wire on that last ring, and I did it the same way as the other one. I put that extra one on there. It seemed to work a little bit better for me. Again, you may not need it, and that's totally fine. All right, and then when you're done, you can sort of straighten everything out, make sure those beads are laying nice. And our earrings are complete. So let's, here, let me pick them up so you can see them a little bit better. So that is how we make a tiered heart earring. Thanks so much for watching, and be sure and click the subscribe button to get all the latest Fiber Flux video updates. Thanks again.